Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. Manipur is on the boil, and the government is serious about quelling the tension. The Home Ministry has stepped in to de-escalate the crisis. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has cancelled his key rallies in Maharashtra as he chaired a high-level meeting in Delhi on the Manipur situation. An additional 50 Central Armed Police Forces or CAPF companies are being rushed to Manipur. 5,000 additional para-personnel to be deployed in the state. Meanwhile, the Home Secretary Govind Mohan has reached Manipur to review the situation. The Manipur government has constituted a two-member inquiry committee to probe police firing in Jiribam, in which one protester was killed and another was injured. The special commando team was led by Colonel retired Nectar Sajanbam as Senior SP Combat, whose service was discontinued by the government on Monday. We've got more news coming through. A fresh wave of violence in Manipur has also been seen following the deaths of 11 suspected militants in an exchange of fire with security personnel, and women and children being abducted by armed militants who have travelled all the way from Churachandpur, as per the report suggests, to Jiribam. And now reports say 5 out of the 6 bodies have been recovered, and some of them very brutally maimed, with limbs and heads severed, even with toddlers, the children. It's not mere violence that has gripped Northeast and also this state of Manipur. Why is the situation worsening? Who or what factors are stirring the pot in Manipur? Here on The Right Stand, we get you exclusive input shared by our Security Affairs editor Manoj Kumar Gupta, which show a very devious toolkit that has now perhaps been put to the works and is operating to deliberately destabilize not just Manipur, but the northeast of Bharat, and of course create a security situation, an integrity and sovereignty situation for Bharat overall. First up, top intelligence sources have told CNN News 18 that the Manipur destabilization toolkit is very clearly visible, noting that the modus operandi was to attack infrastructure development and society, create a leadership crisis and send more sophisticated weapons into the state. Intel sources have further added that there is a complete law and order breakdown currently, with new tactics or fresh tactics which are beyond the assessment for the law and order agencies. And that is an intelligence failure also at local level. There's more. Intel sources have further added that attackers on Meitei civilians actually traveled 200 kilometers from Churachandpur to Jiribam, and their movement was unnoticed. Earlier, it was believed that the insurgents will abduct and release the civilians. But this brutal killing, even of toddlers and also including a 60-year-old woman, tells a different story altogether. The abductions, rapes and killings are a war game at a different level. The abduction, killing and rape toolkit is also designed in a way that it's finally stoking complete social unrest, because action, reaction, it's an incessant chain of violence that's now being unleashed. The Meiteis have got no faith in the social machinery, including the local netas from their own community. Out of fear, local politicians are not seen with the community, and this is resulting in arson, attacks on them too. We've got images coming out of a local MLA, a Meitei MLA, who's now turned his house into a virtual bunker. Intel sources are further saying that the timing of the recent violence is also important. And I'm quoting what sources are telling us. The attacks began soon after Mizoram Chief Minister Laldu Homa's comments in the United States about the need for a separate nation of Kuki-Chin-Zo people under a unified leadership. Now, his statement proposed consolidating Kuki-Chin-Zo populations across Bharat, Myanmar and Bangladesh. The statement outside Bharat seems to have also not just ignited or emboldened these groups, and they are perhaps trying to make a decisive launch, or what in their heads is a final assault for a decisive move to carve out a separate nation. Now, this is an assessment. The security agencies also warned about the escalation of this conflict between the two groups in Manipur, saying that there was an urgent need to contain it or the northeast will become a war zone. The drug money is actually fueling the escalation in the northeast, is what they have further said. And the destabilization toolkit is not just at play, it is targeting crucial critical infrastructure development projects, and Jiribam is on their radar. Why? We tell you more here on The Right Stand. On the 1st of October, right here on your own show, inputs from the Jiribam plot were shared with us by our Security Affairs editor Manoj Kumar Gupta. Why do secessionists continuously attack Jiribam? Because Jiribam is the entry point into Manipur. Northwards of Jiribam is Tamlengong, southwards is Churachandpur, and the Imphal Valley is there right at the dead center. The connection to Imphal will be cut off. Infrastructure and border control is first on the agenda of these secessionists before going all out for a separate administration. Secessionists want control of railways and the highways. Jiribam is a crucial lifeline for Manipur, and there is also the effort to develop the infrastructure all the way up to More, which is the border to Myanmar. Now, it's a strategic plot by these secessionists. Jiribam railway line connects Khongsang village in Tamlengong. Secessionists bid to control the highways and also maintain stranglehold on the valley, because upwards beyond Tamlengong is Kohima and Nagaland. Southwards Churachandpur and then Mizoram. Secessionists want to maintain stranglehold on the Naga-dominated districts while also trying to create an entire link with the southward areas of Churachandpur and thereby into Mizoram and also further down into Myanmar. More news coming through. Intel sources have said the violence in Manipur had more to do with drugs and religion, noting that a parallel economy of drugs worth about 60,000 crore was currently active in the state against a state budget of a mere 35,000 crore. The golden triangle of drugs involving Laos, Myanmar and Thailand has also spilled over into Manipur, say Intel sources, and the large swaths of poppy fields in the hills. Now, can that be an alternative to lack of development in that area and acres of land? The Myanmar drug cartel has spilled over into Manipur, and because of the hills and the forests of Myanmar, where we can see huge opium and poppy cultivation, said Intel sources, Chinese businessmen are paying huge money to locals in Manipur and Myanmar to turn Manipur into a safe haven, which can further be used to send drugs all across Bharat. Now, are this limited only to Chinese businessmen, or are there other entities too? That's a subject matter of investigation. Large quantities of methamphetamine, ketamine and other synthetic drugs continue to be produced and trafficked globally from this region. That's because there is an open, porous border between Mizoram, Manipur, Myanmar, and of course it's spilling over into certain pockets of Bangladesh also. But this is what is creating, and that's direct access into the Golden Triangle. Let's go across to our guest to understand the situation and what is the solution. Dr. Ankita Datta, researcher, columnist who's been actively tracking the developments there. Dr. Thankolal Haukip, Assistant Professor, Center for the Study of Law and Governance from JNU with us. He's back with us. He was there with us last week. We were having an in-depth conversation. And there are multiple sides to this story. Dr. Ankita Datta, is this a mere ethnic strife, or is there more to it than meets the eye? Can it be just this entire historic clash between the Kukis and the Meiteis as it's being made out to be, or is there more to it?
Certainly, it is not merely it is simply not an ethnic clash. It would be completely wrong to refer to it as a mere ethnic clash. This has a long history. The community responsible for orchestrating these attacks in Manipur, they have a history of such attacks, as you just mentioned. They have a history of such attacks in the Northeast, not just in Manipur, but also in various other states of the Northeast, including in Assam, in Mizoram, in Tripura, with different tribes, with different communities. This is the 10th major, well-planned, meticulously planned, targeted attack against the Hindus, of the last remaining population of Hindus of the Northeast. And what is extremely worrisome is the attitude of the authorities, which still hasn't changed. It is still defensive, and the defensive stance of the government at this time is certainly not going to work. We are yet to see a shift of the position of the government from the defensive to the offensive. We need more decisive, full-fledged military operations. But what we are observing on the part of the police and the military, it is still the conventional wait and watch approach. So this is going to continue to allow the cookies to pick and select targets of their attacks, which is happening on the ground. Now, coming to the other point is the consequence of this violence, which is already visible. It is a terrible situation on the ground. I have been constantly in touch with these people, and especially what they told me was, with the harvesting season going on in the state, the harvesting season going on, farmers are desperate to harvest their crops now so that the war ravaged state does not have to face a famine like situation soon. But more lives continue to be taken every single day, which is extremely disturbing. And this recent violence in Jiribam, it is just the tip of the iceberg, I would say, because Jiribam has been under continuous attack since the month of June 2024, immediately after the Lok Sabha election results were out. As you mentioned, Jiribam is a vital communications hub, no doubt about that. It connects the NH37 and the newly formed railway line. It is Jiribam is the only major artery of communication to the valley, to the Imphal Valley, that is NH2. And also, Jiribam is a key point for all our future policies directly going through the border trade town of More, if they would be implemented in the long term. And the biggest problem in the current situation is that militants are continuously attacking Jiribam. They are trying to control all the key inputs. They are trying to control all the key inlets and outlets of Manipur. So these are extremely well-planned militant operations to isolate and segregate the people of Manipur, targeting the Hindus in particular from the rest of Bharat. So this is now an all-out war going on in the state.
Well,
and the defensive outlook of the government is allowing them to pick and choose and conduct precise strikes using drones, rockets, and whatnot. And these strikes have been conducted so accurately, and with some serious planning has gone into these strikes. Like, for example, the use of rivers and other modes of public commutation to do the attempted strikes on Meitei Hindu relief camps, and the Borobekra police station as well in Jiribam, which showed how well planned and meticulous their strategies have been.
See,
and they will continue to get away with such strikes if planned properly and well in advance.
Right. Any life lost of civilians who are now taking to arms because they believe they need to take up the fight because nobody else is fighting with them, irrespective of which side it is unfortunate. But if there is a motive beyond an ethnic strife, and if there is perhaps a subnational, subversive intent to this, then we have a problem, Professor Hawkip.
Anand, let me begin by saying that, how do we describe a Manipuri society? Manipuri society is very diverse. There are Hindus, there are Sanamahi religion, there are a huge chunk of Christians among Manipuris also, and we have Bangals also, who are basically Muslims. So how can we look into the Manipuri society as, as a compact unit of Hindu religion? I think that kind of analysis lacks, a total understanding of the societies in Imphal Valley. So let me begin by saying that day before yesterday, the violence has spread even beyond Manipur boundary. In Kachar, one Kuki was murdered by this, militants or hardened, trained groups in the border of Manipur. So unfortunately, this violence has spread even beyond the boundaries of Manipur. And there are, in recent months, there are Arambai Tiangals formed in Delhi, Chandigarh, Kolkata, and many other places in mainland India. So the violence is spreading, and the intelligence unit of the Home Ministry should carefully look into all this kind of broadening of this violence. And let me tell you how the fresh violence started in Jiribam. Let's look into how this violence started. It started with the killing of an attack of a village, Amar village in Jiribam. And one woman who was 99% burned, charred, who was alleged by the husband that she has been raped. So it started with that. So where do we begin? Why we allege a certain, Christian organization, certain forces beyond the border to ignite all these forces? Let's look inside. It's there. Who are the aggressors? Who started the first wave of violence in October And now, if you look into Manipur, who started again? Empirical evidence, even looking into the newspaper reports, would tell you that who are the aggressors, who are starting this fresh wave of violence, and the retaliation indeed was a kind of strategy perhaps, but unless people are agitated, people are provoked, then especially the Kuki Joe community did not attack first. That's what I want to put. And look into the fairness in terms of handling the several cases. If you look into the last 3 days, uh, Home Ministry has imposed a spa in 6 police stations, and now there's a kind of a semblance of peace in the fringe areas, the areas between the Meitei and Kuki, where they fought frequently. And this imposition of AFSPA could have been done long ago, as many of us have suggested. Of course, the suggestions to bring about president's rule will never be accepted, because you have the double engine circle, and the other engine could not be plugged off. So we understand that, and we have been, despite suggesting for the last 16 to 18 months that this has to be done so as to bring about peace.
No,
This
but,
doesn't
but
happen.
Professor Hauke,
So,
my point is that if you are saying that one side is pushing a Meitei objective, then the other side is also pushing a Kuki objective. The point is that who are the ones who are saying that we want to remain integrated with Bharat, and who are saying that we want a separate land for ours and sever it away from our country. Now that's where the concern is. Now look at the innocent civilians whose pictures, if I remember, last when we had our conversation, you had put out on X the pictures of that family, which included a 60-year-old woman and a small young kid, also 2 other women, and you said they should be handed back. Now, what kind of civility and what kind of this converse talks about the way and the manner in which they've been handed back?
I will be against any kind of killings, whether it's an aged, whether it's people who are defending their own land. I am against any killing. I would be appeal to anyone, to stop killing. That's what I stand for, and many human rights and academic activities would say. But let's look into the speech by Laldoma, the Chief Minister of Manipur, has been
Chief Minister of Mizoram.
twistedly interpreted. And I think no Indian would, any Indian or any Kuki-Jo family would talk about destabilizing as well as forming a greater part of this so-called propaganda called Christian state. I don't believe in such things. The only problem is that the Kuki-Jo people are marginalized in different areas in this region. And
my point is,
they have been persecuted. So this is the problem.
See, my point is both sides are claiming persecution. The thumb rule, for my understanding, was that the Kukis were in the hills, and the Kukis, Nagas at that time inhabited the hills. The valley belonged to the Meiteis, and that's how the peace between the tribes happened. Whenever each tried to foray into the other's territory, there was a problem. This entire rekindling of the problem happened. Now, the point is, with what agenda will a set of people, and this is confirmed intelligence, Ankita Datta, that a set of people traveled 200 kilometers all the way from Churachandpur into Jiribam to inflict the kind of violence, mayhem and culling that we are witness. There are so many pictures which are so disturbing, one would not even want to talk about it. Ankita Datta, we've got B.L. Vora, the former DGP of Manipur, also joining us. Yes, Ankita ji, and then I'll go across to...
Can I answer that immediately?
To DGP Vora. Yes. 1 minute. Ankita Datta. Yes, please.
Completely true. These atrocities on especially women and children simply show that the militants are not at all afraid of government repercussions. Neither are they afraid of a large number of people rising up against them and being able to compel the government to undertake some action against them. They are just not worried about any such thing. And most importantly, I would like to mention that there has been a continuous misinformation campaign with respect to the reality on the ground, and this continuous misinformation campaign has been carried out by top academics and scholars since the beginning of the violence as to who are the real victims versus the real perpetrators of this violence, because they know very well, because of the one-sided narrative called secularism in our country, and so-called minority victims being always the victims. They have appropriated this narrative, and there is a constant attempt on their part to establish the idea of the so-called majority community, that is the Métis of Manipur, being the aggressor and the minorities as the victims, because this suits their agenda the most. This fits into their agenda. We should not forget.
My point is, Dr.
Yes.
Ankita Datta, that there will be agendas and there will be these kind of lines wherever there are human beings, or, because we'll find a reason to divide ourselves, we'll find a reason to fight. But when it comes to be the agenda of trying to create a separate nation, carve out and even challenge the territorial sovereignty and integrity of the country, then it does not remain an ethnic strife. It does not remain a sectarian fight.
Surely.
It
Yes,
becomes a
yes.
different agenda altogether. And are certain tribes, certain groups being used to further that agenda? And is there a religious angle to it also, along with a commercial angle? B.L. Voraji is with us. B.L. Voraji, I'm just going to ask you, sir, thank you for your time. We've spoken about this in the past. I'd like to understand from you, what is your assessment of what's going on? Is there a subversive agenda? Are there forces beyond just two ethnicities having a clash at each other? Given the kind of weaponry, given the kind of tactics that are being used, the training that's been accorded, this is all not overnight. This is not an action-reaction on an impulse. It seems to be prepared for years.
I agree with you, Anand, on every word that you have said. And I think we have to blame none else but ourselves. What I mean is here the government, central government particularly. This has been going on from 1 year, started May last year. Things are becoming bad to worse, worse to worse today. And I don't know what is stopping them from taking decisive action. By now, they should have taken all kinds of hard decisions, whether they're political, whether they're bureaucratic, whether they are economic. There is so much to do, and the things are being allowed to worsen altogether, with the result that handle is being given to the elements, the ones that you mentioned, who are anti-national elements from outside India who want to create trouble here, especially the drug lords who are behind the whole thing. These cookies and Mathis, they were very close-knit families together actually. They were very close-knit groups. I've served there 3 tenures at different times, starting from 80s till now. It's all a bogey that one community is against the other. Now, of course, they are against each other because of the bloodshed that is going on. And these insurgent groups on the Mathis side also have a lease of life, and similarly on the Koki side also. If you ask me, the solution is straight away president rule, change of the entire political structure, the bureaucratic structure. I think people of proven competency, those who have worked there, many of them, they must be posted there, and this must be handled on war footing. Myanmar, China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, they all would like to fish in troubled waters. In fact, they are doing it. They are definitely doing it at present. And it's very, very dangerous for the country. See, this saying that it is on the tip of the golden triangle for drugs, it has been there for ages. That's nothing new. But the new is the drug lords, the money that they have, the kind of money they have. You have yourself said 60,000 worth, 60,000 crores, which is much more than even the budget of the government of Manipur. They are the ones who are behind the whole thing. And there's so many weapons looted, 6,000 weapons looted, barely 2,000 have come back. So much arms, ammunitions. And I think these voices from either side blaming the other for hatred, these are also wrong. But the division between the communities is increasing by the day. I think this must be handled with an iron hand. Intelligence failure has been there.
Do you believe the borders with Myanmar should be sealed? Because one of the conditions was to keep it porous. Now, even the Chief Minister of Mizoram insisted that the borders should not be sealed because he believes that the Zo people should get and he is trying to draw parallels, and he's trying to very clearly, his speech is there on the Mizoram website, largely evangelical in nature, and he talks about a religious connect between the three, and he also tries to say that they are all the same and they should have equal floating around. And he says, we are very proudly, he's put out the numbers that 40,000 Chin people are there in Mizoram because they are also Zo. And he says the Cookies are also Zo. Cookie are also there, they are also Zo. And he says, I don't want these borders to be sealed. What should be done? If there is president's rule and if we need security, should we seal the borders, sir?
Absolutely. These two are different things. Immediate need is law and order, controlling the situation for which border must be sealed, and the whole thing must be dealt with an iron hand. As far as the views of Chief Minister Mizoram is concerned, everybody is entitled to have his views. Just his views. That's everybody can have it. I can have it. You can have it. Anyone can have it. So I don't think we should give any much importance to that at the moment. At the moment, we must have president's rule and must deal with this lawlessness and this violence with an iron hand.
So we've just got
And
some more
of
input
course,
coming.
Simultaneously, we should do whatever we can for the two communities
No,
on all fronts.
Voraji,
And we should try to bring
please allow
peace
me.
also between them.
Please allow me just a minute. We've just got another update. Multiple organizations are working in the northeast from Mizoram to Tripura to carve out a separate state on the basis of religious identity and ethnic identity. The Mizo National Front, MNF, National Liberation Front of Tripura, NLFT, Khmer People's Convention, HPC, and Chin National Army, CNA, are separatist organizations in the state of Mizoram, Tripura, Manipur, and Myanmar's Chin state. All these groups have different objectives, but they share ethnic and religious ties. Groups like MNF, NLFT, and HPC want to be separated from Bharat and also from Myanmar, CNA from Myanmar. According to sources, the MNF provided shelter and training to NLFT cadre in Mizoram, and they are looking for similar kind of force in Mizoram like MNF, in Manipur, for future escalation. The MNF supported HPC's autonomy demand for the Khmer tribe, and time to time their drug money is also diverted to them. These are inputs that have come through us. Intel inputs. NLFT and HPC collaborated on arms smuggling and training. All these four groups are working on the same religious ideology, and their ethnic affiliation are also the same. Voraji, now this is the whole aspect of how it all comes together. The drugs, the ethnic identity, or trying to draw parallels and trying to tell them we are all the same. And then there is a religious angle to this. But largely, it tends to try and hinge upon these groups are all talking about the early 20th century maps that were drawn by the British, which talked of a greater Cookie land. And this is a similar drawing which has Mizoram as part of it, Manipur as part of it, Nagaland as part of it, parts of Bangladesh, and of course Myanmar, today's Myanmar. This is something that Sheikh Hasina also spoke about, that there is an attempt to create an East Timor-like state which is driven on the principles of one religion, and there is a Western hegemonistic force which wants to create this so that they have their guns trained directly at Beijing, and they have a base here. Naval base in the Indo-Pacific, in the Indian Ocean, especially now with the Bay of Bengal.
May I comment, Anand,
Yes,
now?
Ji.
Okay. See, what you're saying broadly is okay, but let me tell you, let me dissect it a little.
Ji.
I have served in Tripura also. I was DGP Tripura as well.
Ji.
NLFT, these tribals, they have been asking for a secession for a different reason, because Bengalis, Hindu Bengalis had come over from then East Pakistan and Bangladesh, and they became a majority in a state where the tribals were a majority. But now these organizations are almost dead there, and there's peace there in Tripura, very much there. I know, I've served it, I've handled this situation. I was lucky during my time, there's a lot of peace returned to the state.
Ji.
MNF is a story which is a past story. As you know, in Mizoram it had happened long ago, and then there was an agreement with the government of India during Rajiv Gandhi's time, I think in 1984. Now, this leaves us basically with the Manipur groups that you mentioned. They have been there for decades. Earlier, they had some ideology, then they became extortionists, and now, of course, they have a new lease of life. And similarly, these cookie groups, they were not there earlier, in fact. They are product recent, I mean, recent for me, but otherwise, of course, now maybe for about two decades or so. So they are the ones, and they have all got this handle now to indulge in violence. There's absolutely no doubt that these people are being funded by people, by drug lords basically, and maybe by Christian missionaries. I'm not aware of that. Definitely. And they want it to be there, and it is our weakness, the weakness of the central government and weakness of the state government earlier. They have handled it very badly. And these wounds are increasing by the day. I think I'll go back to what Anand I have been saying. It's central government must step in with an iron hand, contain the violence, take whatever action, whatever it takes. And whatever CM Mizoram says, it's his views. We can always deal with those issues later on.
So you're saying that the president's rule is imperative?
Absolutely a must with immediate effect. And whole-scale changes at the level of bureaucracy there, whole-scale and the police top structure there, and on the economic front, diplomatic front, people are suffering. Cookies are suffering, Metis are suffering, and they are cut off. We are not giving them any help or aid at all. This is too much. But how can they not allow Metis to go to their area and vice versa? I mean, this is our weakness, if you ask me, administration's weakness.
True.
I've been Home Secretary also there. I know it. These things can be handled, but I'm sorry to say they are not being handled, unfortunately.
Right. I've got just about a minute to go. 30 seconds to Professor Haukip and 30 seconds to Professor Ankita Datta, Dr. Ankita Datta. Yes, Professor Haukip. Do you believe there is an ulterior motive or this can be resolved? Will President's rule resolve it or something else needs to be done?
Actually, President's rule was something I suggested on the second day of Manipur violence. And I don't want to repeat about that because it has been there for too long. And now I would like to look into the kind of misinformation and the traveling of 200 kilometers thing that has been put up here. So volunteers from Churachandpur traveling 200 kilometers to Jiribam and all these things. I think it's not only a single community. The Meiteis, they have also Arambai Tingol and other insurgent groups moving there when the trouble foments, and they are defending their own kindred people out there. So it's not a single phenomenon. It's a kind of it occurs on both sides. And secondly, regarding this misinformation, forget about misinformation. In October, Manipur government was creating a kind of disinformation that 900 Kuki militants will be coming from Myanmar and then will be attacking this and that. This kind of information has been spread, and eventually the Indian army debunked this kind of disinformation spread by the state government. And in the month of October, nothing happened in the last week of last month. So these are the kind of situations that we have.
But
and
my point is, just because nothing happened in the last week of last month doesn't mean that nothing has happened in the first 2 weeks of this month. So, the point is clearly somebody is trying to stir the pot.
You have to look into who has started. Who is the aggressor in the first wave?
My point, sir, is that we will never get into the cycle of, and we will never be able to pinpoint who the aggressor is in a case like this, because each side will believe the other is the aggressor, and this is what those who want to create a spiral of violence would always look forward to. Dr. Datta, yes, President's rule, will it solve it or something else needs to be done? Do our borders with Myanmar need to be sealed? Does there need to be an account of who's in Manipur, who's not?
Yes, certainly. But we need something beyond President's rule, and this I have been emphasizing from the very beginning, that we need full-fledged, decisive military actions enveloping the hills of Manipur, cutting off all the escape routes. Yes, border fencing should be certainly prioritized by the central government, but at the same time, at least a 10-kilometer no zone or minimal zone of settlement should be created so that these immigrants do not create another ecosystem for facilitating the entry of more immigrants, even after the borders are sealed. So, and it is a very dangerous mixture of drugs and church-funded religious terrorism going on right now. And indecisiveness of the government in this case is actually undoing the very good work that the current government has been doing in the Northeast since 2014. So we are expecting some action from the government, because the
some
implications
strong,
of this
decisive
is now,
action. And I would only
Yes.
say, urge very clearly that we should, one line should be uncompromisable. India for Indians. Those who owe their loyalty to the tricolor, abide by the constitution and have their origins in Bharat and are Indians are welcome. Those who are not, those who are here with an ulterior motive or an agenda, whatever it be, are not welcome. They either need to be addressed by the strong hand of the law, or they need to be sent back to their burrows from where they have tried to emerge. That's very, very clear, irrespective of who it is. Thank you to our panelists. We're going to wind up the conversation here. Before we take a break, there are pictures coming through of the G20 summit in Brazil. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is attending the G20 summit in Brazil, and PM was seated next to President Joe Biden at the G20 table. Wonder what the conversation is, because there is so much that's happening all over the world, in this region, and all the leaders, a lot of the leaders who are present there, especially these two gentlemen, have a lot at stake. We take a break. When we come back, the story of these K extremists who are deep assets. Stay.
जब हिंदुस्तान मिले हिंदुस्तान से
Visit your nearest JK Tyre Steel Wheel store today.
Hello, I'm Zareen Daruwala. Leadership is more than just vision. It's action that matters. At the India Business Leader Awards, we recognize those who lead with intent and create lasting impact. Join me as we honor the leaders who embody leadership in action.
Presented by Standard Chartered in association with Reliance Industries Limited.
अबे गुल्लू क्या कर रहे हो?
कपाल भाती। यहाँ ऑर्डिनरी प्लाई जैसे हार्मफुल गैसेस नहीं है। खुल के सांस लो।
हाँ, यहाँ सब ग्रीन प्लाई, जीरो एमिशन प्लाई से तो बना है। अबे एक मिनट, हम भी करते हैं।
शाबाश। ग्रीन प्लाई का जीरो एमिशन प्लाई, हेनली इंटीरियर्स का रिप्लाई।
You will be the first transformed into agents with powers beyond those of mortal man. Or you might just explode. We don't really know. I give you the Mega Minions.
Good luck with that.
यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के विजन के अनुरूप माननीय मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ के प्रगतिशील नेतृत्व में अविस्मरणीय यादों के साथ संपन्न हुआ प्रयागराज कुंभ 2019 जैसा कीर्तिमान बनाने के लिए महाकुंभ 2025 के सफल आयोजन को तैयार है कर्म योगी सरकार। स्वच्छ महाकुंभ, हरित महाकुंभ के अनुरूप पौधरोपण, पार्कों का जीर्णोद्धार एवं सौंदर्यीकरण के विभिन्न कार्यों से महाकुंभ में आने वाले पर्यटकों को होगी विशेष अनुभूति। कूड़ा प्रबंधन, ठोस अपशिष्ट निस्तारण और पॉलीथीन फ्री महाकुंभ के लिए बनाई गई है विशेष कार्य योजना। श्रद्धालुओं की सुविधा के लिए 1,45,000 शौचालय का कराया जा रहा है निर्माण। सौंदर्यीकरण और मेला थीमेटिक लाइटिंग के कार्यों से कुंभ नगरी प्रयागराज को मिला है नव्य स्वरूप। मानवता की अमूर्त सांस्कृतिक धरोहर महाकुंभ 2025 में अमृत स्नान का पुण्य कमाने आओ चलें महाकुंभ।
The next Indian icons, beating everyone on the globe. A new perspective awaits. B6E and XEV9E. Mahindra's electric origin SUVs. Catch them at Unlimit India.
अच्छा बच्चों, बड़े होके क्या बनोगे?
I wanna be a footballer, फिर coach. Me, a car designer, then an artist. Uncle और आप?
मैं तो बिजनेसमैन हूँ।
पर उसके बाद?
मतलब
आप बूढ़े होके क्या बनोगे?
अपनी खुशियों वाली रिटायर्ड लाइफ की प्लानिंग करो आज से विद आदित्य बिरला सन लाइफ इंश्योरेंस।
डीजे।
आप बूढ़े होके क्या बनोगे?
जब भी मैं ठंडा खाती थी जैसे कि आइसक्रीम, मुझे एक झंझनाहट सी महसूस होती थी। ये बढ़ती जा रही थी ये प्रॉब्लम। पहले ठंडे से शुरू हुई, फिर गर्म खाने से हो रही थी। तब जाके मैंने डेंटिस्ट को दिखाया। उन्होंने कहा कि आप सेंसोडाइन यूज कीजिए। अब मुझे फ्रिज से कुछ ठंडा निकाल के खाना हो तो मुझे दोबारा सोचना नहीं पड़ता।
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Back on, ladies and gentlemen, and we will stay with Manipur because there is just an update. Civil society organizations in Manipur started closing down central government institutions. These pictures are just coming through. We'll try and connect with K. Athuba, the spokesperson of the Coordinating Committee on Manipur Integrity, COCOMI. We'll try and connect with him. There is a soundbite that's come through, and this is just earlier this day in the afternoon that they have said that since the reports came in of killing of minor children and women, people of Manipur now felt that the government has failed to protect lives and property. As people have discontentment, they're coming out on the streets, even using violent means. So the COCOMI have decided to take up closing down of government institutions to put pressure on them. ECI office, or the Election Commission office, situated in Lamphel, and Economic and Statistics and IBSD offices complex were also closed earlier in the day by protesters. This is a reaction from K. Athuba.
We got to know that some government institutions, central government institutions, were closed down by the COCOMI. What made the COCOMI to take these decisions?
No, since the report came in about the killing of innocent minor children and women, people of Manipur has now felt that government of India has failed to protect or to secure the life and property of its citizen, and with the discontentment that the people has expressed, coming out on the streets and taking up violent means in their own hands, we feel that it is time that we also put some pressure to the central government that they should act sooner than later, so that the long pending 18 months long crisis has been resolved as soon as possible. So it is our mark of protest. It's a symbolic protest, and if they don't try and resolve this ongoing crisis, meeting our demands, more intense agitations will come up in future.
Thank you, Tom.
So there will be more agitations. Kamalika Sengupta joins us with more. These are from earlier in the day, Kamalika, but now we're given to understand that BJP MPs and NPF MLAs also reached Biren Singh's residence. What's happening there in Manipur, in Imphal?
Yes, that was actually what was scheduled today. There is this meeting which was called around 6 p.m. by Biren Singh, and all the NDA MLAs, like the BJP MLAs are there, and also the NPF MLAs are there. We know that NPP has withdrawn the support from the Manipur government. That won't affect the government technically, but definitely this is a situation where we have spoken to a lot of MLAs. 17 MLAs houses have been vandalized, and some of them are ministers. And let me tell you, Anand, that there was this one MLA who is a PHE minister, Shoshindro. His house, he has made a bunker in his own house to protect himself. So right now it is the security which is a concern area for the public representatives there. And Biren Singh will be meeting them, and they are going to actually discuss on the future course of action. They believe that they are their people and they are going to convince their people, the Metis. That's all effort on that from the central government and the state government are being made. And today we know the Union Home Secretary has also reached Imphal. The DG CRPF is there. Continuous meeting is going on. And now on the political front also, there is a requirement of reaching out to their own people, and that's what they will try to do.
Well, thank you for your input. So there are MLAs who are now facing the wrath of the local people because they believe that their netas have failed them. Their netas have failed to do their job, and these are visuals of some MLAs actually turning their homes into mini bunkers. That's the situation, ladies and gentlemen, on ground at this point in Manipur. Thank you for your inputs, Kamalika. Short break and we shift focus to Telangana. There's yet another exclusive CNN News 18 news break when we come back. Stay with us here on The Right Stand.
I want to soar above the skies and fulfill my responsibilities. With LIC. Paid your LIC premium? On time. दिल की सुनो, LIC चुनो.
LIC, हर पल आपके साथ. विचार नए हैं तो अब नया विकास हो. पुरानी इस जमीन पे नया इतिहास हो. जरूरतें हैं पानी की जो दूर दूर तक. पियो ना ऊक से पियो जितनी भी प्यास हो. एक बार हमारा नाम लो तो एहसास हो. विचार नए हैं तो अब नया विकास हो. उन उंगलियों की खैर जो धागों को बुनती हो. फ्यूचर का ख्वाब देखो तो तकिए के पास हो. उड़कर चलो ना फ्लाईओवर से तो जानोगे हम कितना कुछ बनाते हैं विकास के लिए. उम्मीदें भर के देते हैं हर एक चीज में हम हैं ना. अगर आपकी उम्मीद खास हो. जुड़े हैं हम 140 करोड़ लोगों से. चारों ओर देखो तो एहसास हो. विचार नए हैं तो अब नया विकास हो. Wellspun World.
Deal is locked, babe. I'll see you at the fest.
When you arrive in life, you deserve the best of a drive.
Presenting the dazzling new Desire, the best and beyond.
Every day, millions of Indians meet the future with hopes in their heart and smiles on their face.
And now it's time to make those smiles shine.
Because 90% of adults in our country face dental problems. But only 9% of them visit a dentist in a year.
और शहरी क्षेत्रों में रहने वाले 80% भारतीय दिन में 2 बार ब्रश भी नहीं करते.
It's time to change the narrative.
To prioritize oral care.
Because dental health
is important for our well-being.
And healthy smiles lead to a healthier India.
Together we can elevate oral health
to its rightful place
in our national
health agenda.
Join us as News 18 Network and Colgate India embark on Oral Health Movement Initiative, a campaign to ignite conversations and drive action with a new AI-based dental screening tool that will give you your free dental score in an instant.
मुथूट फाइनेंस गोल्ड ओवरड्राफ्ट. अपने सोने को हमारे सुरक्षित लॉकर्स में डिपॉजिट कीजिए. उस सोने पर 24/7 क्रेडिट लाइन लीजिए और फिर पैसे एक बार लीजिए या बार बार आपके हाथ में. कम या ज्यादा घर में या ब्रांच में आपके हाथ में. ब्याज सिर्फ उतने ही दिन का भरिए जितने दिन पैसे इस्तेमाल कीजिए. मुथूट फाइनेंस गोल्ड ओवरड्राफ्ट. गोल्ड लोन कमाल, बाकी लोन बेमिसाल.
सर इन्हें क्रिप्टो करके लाइफ सेट करनी है पर कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है.
कॉन्फिडेंस चाहिए?
हाँ सर.
डिफ्यूज द बॉम्ब. ऑल द बेस्ट. डर लग रहा है?
नहीं आता था, हलवाई है.
कैप्टन,
इन्होंने सीखा है इसलिए ये कॉन्फिडेंट है। अगर आपको क्रिप्टो में कॉन्फिडेंस चाहिए तो क्रिप्टो सीखना होगा। क्रिप्टो कोच, CoinDCX, लर्न करो, क्रिप्टो करो।
Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions.
मजहब की बुनियाद पर मुल्क के 3 हिस्से करके हमें बहला रहे हैं।
मजहब में बांटना अंग्रेजों की राजनीति।
हमें एक इंडिपेंडेंट सॉवरेन पाकिस्तान चाहिए।
एक बार ये लकीर खींच गई, मिटाए नहीं मिटेगी।
Freedom at midnight, Sony Live पर।
सर आप बहुत लकी हैं कि आपके बेटे ने हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस और बाकी सारी फॉर्मेलिटीज टाइम से पूरी कर दी है।
मेरा बेटा?
तो फिर आप?
पॉलिसी बाजार।
क्लेम के टाइम पे हमेशा आपकी हेल्प को तैयार। पॉलिसी बाजार, 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
झंझनाहट से जल्द आराम पाएं। सेंसर
Back on with the super explosive expose from the state of Telangana. 2 states, Congress ruled in the south, Karnataka and Telangana, both allegedly under deep financial strain, but both these states have put their guarantees on the back burner. On Friday, we reported how Karnataka CM Siddaramaya's office got a 2.5 crore rupee makeover with luxurious lighting and interiors. And here on the right stand, in this edition, we show you how Telangana Chief Minister is planning a spend of 3.5 crore on revamping the state secretariat gate as per Vastu. CNN News 18 has accessed the exclusive document that shows a plan of laying of a new internal road from northeast gate number 4 to southeast gate number 2 on the east side and providing additional gate on the east side compound wall in the premises of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Telangana Secretariat, Hyderabad, at an estimate amount of 3.5 crore to be spent on this revamp. The revamp is being planned even as the state is facing a financial crunch and it is yet to implement some of the key poll guarantees. At this point, let's go across to the BJP and to the Congress. Joining us this evening, NV Subhash and Shujat Ali with us. Mr. NV Subhash, misplaced priorities here, or do you believe some things need to be done?
Exactly. See, earlier when we have a combined Andhra Pradesh state, there was sprawling buildings which was the catering the needs of all the secretariat, all IAS, IPS officers, and the just officers. Once the BRS government came, they have dismantled the whole secretariat and then they built a new secretariat which was actually estimated to 650 crores. It was enhanced to 400 to 1300 crores. And the then Chief Minister, Mr. KCR, hardly visited 2 or 3 times. So after he lost power, when the Congress party has come, they have made so much of structural changes, which already 200 crores have been spent on the new secretariat. And the gates, everything has been just revamped. And Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Revant Reddy, he shifted from 6th floor to 9th floor, having a sprawling sky lounge, which is, he must have spent around 50 to 100 crores on that. And now, again, on Vastu changes or one pretext or other, the state government's exchequer, already we are in a deep trouble of, the financial crisis. We don't have money to pay to the salaries to the employees also. And we leave alone the 6 guarantees, which they failed to implement on that. The Chief Minister, along with the cabinet ministers, have been spending so much on their interiors in offices as well as their houses, which shows that how committed they are. They are not committed. They wanted only the luxury, and they are just leaving the people to doldrums. Bharatiya Janata Party always says that once you build a new secretariat, you are supposed to have a access to the people. This access has been denied, and people are really don't wanted to come to secretariat because they feel so harassed by the police, and then they don't know it's so much of a big building, and no one knows where one stays. If they are really committed about the development of the state, I would appreciate if they can really answer to the questions of the people and the development and the poll promises which they have done. They have done. They have cheated the people. They should really do on that.
Shujatji.
And this is,
Shujatji. Your response.
Yes, please.
Your response to the BJP.
See, the Bharatiya Janata Party has no right to talk about construction. Why Prime Minister Narendra Modi has constructed the new Parliament, house? Where was the need to have such a huge building with a huge amount was spent on that? It will be equal to 4 state government budgets. As far as secretariat is concerned, as far as the gate is concerned, it was the requirement of the day. A lot of people are coming. When the BRS was ruling the state, the secretariat became the Bhoot Bangla. Now the Janta is coming on a very large scale to have their representations, and hectic activity has been started, and the Chief Minister has got every right to have his own entrance, because separate entrance is very important. The footfall has been increased in the Secretariat from the common people, so it wasn't necessary. So spending some amount, some crore or 1 crore or 2 crores is not a big amount. As far as the promises are concerned, we have implemented on free bus.
Confidence on his schemes. Revanth Reddy doesn't have any confidence. That's why he's depending on astrological and the Vastu changes. Already it has been spent.
No, why you are interfering? Why you are not allowing? Why you have interfered? Just keep quiet.
Let Sujatji complete. Give him his 2 minutes, please.
Yeah. We have implemented the free bus for the women, and we have implemented on 200 units of free current. We have implemented on 500 rupees gas. So we are improving each and everything. And as far as the salaries are concerned, we are giving the salary on time. Exactly on 1st in the afternoon, salaries are being given to each and every salary holder, and also the pensioners. In the past, they were not getting the salary on time, they were not getting the pension on time. We have improved, the financial difficulties.
Raitu Bharosa to the farmer and Indrama Indulu, both these schemes, have they been implemented, NV Subhash?
Nothing. It has been shelved. And recently, our people, our leaders
we have already given.
Listen. The Congress party has a unique idea of eliminating the farmers, because there are around 76 lakh farmers who have availed the loan. And then Mr. Revanth Reddy said that you don't pay the interest. As soon as the Congress government comes, we are going to do the lane waiver. Now it has been reduced to only 31 lakh, the people. On one pretext or the other, the Congress party is making the faults which they have made unimplemented the schemes. The policies are wrong. Now they are on the elimination process. They are removing the farmers from the list, and then they are not giving any the benefits to them. If you go in and around the Telangana streets, we see the farmers who have really believed Mr. Revanth Reddy. Now the crop yield has also been the double. There are no buyers. And then all the middlemen are taking the advantage, so that Revanth Reddy will get RR tax. That is the Revanth Reddy and the Rahul tax, because only 3 states in the country is funding the whole elections, and
so
one is
you're making an allegation. Let Sujatali respond. Yes.
See, BJP is the Texal of corruption, and BJP is talking about Congress party. They are giving 10,000 rupees to each voter in Maharashtra. This is authentic information we are getting from the media persons. So please don't talk about corruption. Don't talk about, giving money from, Telangana is all humbug. It's all wrong. We are doing our job in a very great fashion. We were not having a single NP when we took the charge of Telangana. The economy was in very bad shape. Despite that, we have taken up all welfare measures, and we will take in the future also.
Have you taken up all the welfare measures, or some of the biggest measures still pending? That's the big question. And will this fixing up of the Vastu, will it actually fix, and why should the Vastu of the Secretariat and for the Chief Minister's entrance be paid from the taxpayers' money? Why can't it be, why should that be, should there be a different measure? Because it's a individual leader's thought process that's happened, because the Secretariat already 1,200 crore of the taxpayers' money has been used up. That's the argument. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much for joining us on this edition of The Right Stand. Winding up on that note, Zaka Reddy with Brass Tacks.
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The makers of the Constitution of India were very clear. You cannot have reservation in this country on the basis of religion. There was an attempt in United Andhra Pradesh back in 2004 to introduce a 4%